Welcome back to another week here on the Pioneer Sideline. We have a lot going on this past week. Both basketball teams tried to honor a few players by getting a couple wins. We also take a look at sports on the regional and national level. We'll also be bringing back the Pioneer Playbook. And as always, we'll finish up with a case of the week. So join me as we head on down to the Pioneer Sideline. Pioneer Sideline. I'm your host, Kyle Anthony. The women's basketball team is trying to end the season on a high note, going into the conference tournament. I'm joined by Paul Daniels to see if the women were able to end their season on that high note.
It was a real special night last Wednesday when Point Park matched up against Carlow. Point Park celebrated its Nancy Gallagher Cancer Awareness Game, and the proceeds helped to donate about $2,000 for a 2-year-old boy that is battling cancer. Best wishes to him and his family. As far as the game goes, the Pioneers survived a scare against KIAC rival Carlow. Even though they were up by 8 points going into the second half, they would end up losing the lead when the Celtics went on a 24-8 run, leaving about 10 minutes left to play. This run was mainly made possible by the top scorer of the night when Aaron DeSante, who had 26 points total in the Celtics' losing effort. After that run through, Point Park tightened up things defensively and didn't allow them to score another basket for nearly 4 minutes. It was a 1-point affair with about 2 minutes left, and then DeSante was called for 2 intentional fouls down the stretch on centers Bailey Buleka and Jania McFadder. These 2 calls ended up giving Point Park the momentum necessary to win, and head coach Tony Grenick's 100th victory all time by a score of 69-64. It was a bit of a different story on Saturday when the Pioneers played the Red Wolves of IU East. Point Park was pretty much in control of this game from start to finish. It was senior day for the Pioneers, and this led to an all-around team effort on the court. They limited IU East's offense to just 27 points and 18.9% shooting from the field. Point Park had 4 players hit double digits scoring, with Kelly Johnson leading the way with 20 points, 7 assists, and 6 rebounds. They were, for the majority, winning by double digits, and that's how it ended, with the Point Park winning its final game of the regular season 84-67. They finished 24-4 overall this season and will play against Midway on Wednesday in the first round of the KIAC tournament. Since Rio Grande won the regular season title, the only way for Point Park to make it to the Nationals this year would be for them to run the table and win their 4th consecutive KIAC tournament.
Now, Paul, do you think the women's game will just keep getting better and better?
I expect Point Park to put up a good showing in this KIAC tournament. They know this is the only way they can actually get to the Nationals this year, since Rio Grande got the international bid by being the top seed in the regular season.
Do you think they can win the conference tournament?
I absolutely think they can win the conference tournament. They went 24-4 this season, and they did very well versus KIAC opponents this year and had much success. The only team that could get in their way would be Rio Grande, but I see them going to the finals this year and possibly winning the championship once again.
Now, Paul, if they do lose in the conference tournament, do you think they get an at-large bid?
No, unfortunately I do not. They don't give at-large bids to KIAC teams that often. There's just not much respect, and Point Park hasn't been ranked much in the top 25 at all this season, even on their high notes.
Thanks, Paul. The men's team is like a bad movie. It just keeps getting worse and worse. The team will try to turn it around, though, so I will turn it over to Blaine King to see if the team can flip the script.
Thanks, Kyle. The Point Park men's basketball team looked to wrap up their regular season on a high note, as they had 2 home games remaining on their schedule before the start of the KIAC tournament. The Pioneers, who had a 13-11 record and a 5-6 record, KIAC record, just needed one more win to clinch them the 2nd seed in the KIAC North Division and a home playoff game. Carlo, who the Pioneers beat back on February 3rd by a score of 88-73, was the first of two opponents the Pioneers played. This game was a one-sided affair as the Pioneers came out hot and didn't look back. The Pioneers shot a total of 46.5% from the field and held Carlo to only shoot 38.1% from the field. The Pioneers also forced 18 turnovers and scored 25 points off those turnovers. Size in this game proved to be a huge advantage for the Pioneers as well. 6'7" forward Alan Heater led all scorers with 23 points and added 8 rebounds. Barry Smith had 12 points and 6 rebounds, and Yandel Dennis had 7 points and 13 rebounds. The final of this game was Point Park 83, Carlo 61. With this win, the Pioneers clinched the second seed in a home playoff game. Their next game was Saturday, February 24th, first against the 21st NAIA-ranked IU East Red Wolves. It was the senior day for forwards Alan Heater, forward Barry Smith, and guard Corey Henning. And Point Park looked for a late-season upset of the Red Wolves. The Pioneers, who led at halftime by a score of 36-33, had a good chance of the upset. The Pioneers were up by a score of 57-46 with about 11 minutes remaining in the game. But the Red Wolves went on a 32-5 run in the last 10 minutes of the game, which led to the Pioneers' demise. The final of this game was 80-68, IU East. The Pioneers finished the season with a 14-12 record and a 6-7 record in the KIAC. The Pioneers will face off against Cincinnati Christian in the first round of the KIAC tournament. The game, which was originally scheduled to be played on Tuesday, February 24th, has been pushed back a day later due to weather. It will now be played on Wednesday, February 25th at CCAC South.
Now, Blaine, can the men right the ship at this point?
Well, Kyle, this men's team they're an up-and-down team, and they're pretty good at home. The thing is, though, can they beat Cincinnati Christian again, and can they go on the road and win another game?
Now, do you think they'll be a tough out in the tournament?
It depends. Like I said, they're a tough team at home to play, but on the road, it just seems like another story. They're basically a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde type of team.
Now, Blaine, what do they need to do to shock the world?
To shock the world, they just have to play together. One thing is, Coach Rager, he goes with a 7-man team, so hopefully fatigue doesn't settle in. If they can click on all cylinders, that's from inside, that's with the height advantage, that's from beyond the arc, then they have a chance.
Thanks, Blaine. When we return from break, we will be talking about sports on the regional and national level.